Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the Dr. Debbie and KB show, where every week Dr. Debbie and myself we bring you practical new topics to make good decisions for your health, uncovering different topics on your health to help you make the best decisions for your health and wellness journey. And tonight's topic is on lab work and reading your labs. This is probably one of the most requested things Dr. Debbie and myself gets. Dr. Debbie is not only a naturopathic doctor of 40 plus years, but she's also a lab chemist. And so she has a profession and has her knowledge in that is just going to blow you guys away tonight. And so we're so excited to come to you and to share these little tips, tricks, and help you to read and uncode what your labs are telling you, not just individually as numbers, but as a pattern as a whole. And then as well as give you practical solutions and tips to help to rebalance your body and to aid in the facilitation of healing your body on a cellular level, right? And so that's what it's all about, is improving your health, improving your wellness, and getting down to the root of what those lab numbers are trying to tell you and what you can do to help to rebalance those numbers to get a perfect 10, right, Dr. Debbie?
10 it is.
So we're going to be uncovering that tonight. I'll just go ahead and do the disclosure. We are not your doctor. We're not your medical doctor. So before you make any changes to your wellness program, please consult your medical professional. We do not make claims to treat, cure, diagnose, or any of that. And so we are here to give you advice and recommendations based off what we've learned and based off the knowledge that we have together. So without further ado, Dr. Debbie, you want me to do that screen share?
Please, so everyone can see how easy this is. Hello, everybody. We're going to take something that y'all been fearful of, that everyone is, when they get a blood test, because usually your medical doctor doesn't even give you a copy of it unless you request it, and then they act like you're asking for a pot of gold, and then you get this test, and then they don't go over the results with you, right? So all you know is what you see. So if you look up on this chart that Christy has placed on the screen, it's going to give you a set of numbers based off of sick people to your left. Do y'all see that where it says the clinical standards? I can't see the top, what it says. Can you? Where it has white blood cell count and gives you the range. There it is. Okay, so you've got the healthy range and then you've got the lab range. Does everybody see that? That's two different sets of numbers, because the lab range numbers that you get on your blood test is based off of sick people. Think about it, y'all. Most healthy people, well, they are now because of things like Tony Robbins, Life Force, offering all kinds of different blood tests to be done, but most often it is the sick people having their blood tested. So they give you normal ranges based off of that. Well, now there's brand new, different companies out there saying, that's based off of the sicker population. This is what you should be at in the healthy, so-called normal range. I just got to jump down to the cholesterol part and share this part with you. Because when I saw this, I was thrilled to know that finally somebody had published this, and this came out in a book like 25 years ago, where all my people, the public in general, is being told if you have a cholesterol number 200 or above, that's too high, you need to be on a statin, which y'all, all of you on this screen know, because we've taught y'all, Christy and I both, that when you get on the statin and they put people on the low-fat diet, the brain functions off of fat. So then you can look into the, I can't say the names of the diseases. This is hard. The 3 things that make you lose your memory. Okay, so everybody knows what I'm talking about there, right? Okay.
Right.
According to healthy numbers, you take a baseline of 200 and you add your age to it. Y'all, so mine can go up to 266 and I'm still going to be celebrating and having a party. What's your age?
63.
Oh, he's 63. He's just a baby. So his can go to 263 and it's still going to be in the norm, because if you do the history and the research on just that one cholesterol number alone, you're going to find out that just as little as like 40 years ago, normal ranges were between 300 to 400. High was considered 450 or above.
Yep.
And way back then, they didn't have all the scripts for all of the different statin medications that are out there now being offered to everybody. So everybody let that sink in. Don't be panicking and calling me going, oh, they want to put them on a X, Y, or Z medication because their number was 220 or whatever. It's all good. Everything's going to be okay because there's other numbers that you can look at instead. Okay, so if we go up to the white blood cells, I like to look at the WBC and the RBC because that basically tells you how the immune system's doing. And then I know from looking at the numbers whether the person is setting themselves up for disease or not. And y'all don't worry about a thing because Christy and I are not going to go into all this depth and detail explaining all this and then not give you a solution. We always have the solution, right, Christy?
That's right.
Yes.
Okay, so Dr. Debbie, let's start with this top over here. So you guys, this is a metabolic panel that most of your doctors are ordering. That's the generic standard. You go to your doctor, they're going to order that metabolic panel, and this is what you're going to see. Your WBC starting with your immune system, like Dr. Debbie said. So white blood cell count, okay? If this is out of whack, out of balance, Dr. Debbie, what would you recommend? Say this is too high, out of range, or too low. What would you recommend for somebody dealing with an out of whack immune system?
Yes. Either one of those being out of balance, number one, is going to be indicative of immune system failure with the white blood cells in particular. The body's trying to fight off some type of infection, which is usually what they're looking for. And then the patient gets sent home with an antibiotic, which means against life. I wish I had a chalkboard here. Next time you're going to hold a chalkboard. So I can write the word antibiotic, anti meaning, like I said, against, and biotic is life. Probiotic is, you break down the pro and it's for life. So you got one destroying life, kind of like some of the other treatments out there. It doesn't just take all of the bad, it takes the good with it. So if those are prescribed, y'all remember, take it if you want to, but add the probiotic with it to keep the gut nice and healthy, because that would be indicative of fighting off an infection. Then you can go to the platelet count, see how high or low that is. Right up underneath it, the eosinophils. Y'all, we just did the best class on parasites ever, and it was so good. We got such a huge request for more information. Christy says, oh yeah, we're doing it again. And that's the number right there I look at to see if there is parasitic infestation. Whether it be too high or too low will determine how much you are infested with the parasites. Making sense?
Absolutely. And Dr. Debbie, we talk about the phototherapy patches all the time on here. If you've been on here before, we rave about them for great rhymes and reasons. What patches would you recommend for somebody dealing with an immune system dysfunction or immune system out of whack or out of range?
Automatically. First thing, X39. So you get brand new stem cells. Oh my gosh, it's going to stimulate your body to make your own. So it's going to wake up 4,000 dormant, dead, sickly stem cells for you and help your body start fighting off infection. And just humorous, y'all, add the aloe vera to it because you take that at night and it's going to increase your lifespan anywhere from 20 to 40%. Automatically adding 20 years. Y'all want me to repeat that? You got X39 stimulating, helping your body to stimulate brand new cells during the day. Take it off at night. When you take it off, put your aloe vera on right between the eyebrows. Isn't that where I put mine?
Yes.
Well, I got bangs. Maybe now y'all know why. Okay? Because it's not a sexy look. I'm not telling you that because it looks kind of weird. But it works right between the eyebrows, or you can put it on the right temple. I don't care where you put it. Put it on your body because it's going to extend your life. And basically, my theory is, it's just my theory, and John and I talk about it all the time. When you have just those two patches going for you, oh my gosh, your life's extended. You're going to be healthy. There's no need to worry about the numbers on a blood test if you are proactive in your protocol, your plan of action. You've got to implement things into action. You can't just talk about it. If it's just a dream and it's just words, then that is just a dream. But in order to make it real, you take one day at a time, one step at a time. This is where you start. Get off the sugar, add some probiotics, some enzymes to help you digest your food. And y'all are all going to be here with me and Christy and John to 150 years of age. Write that down. And you're still going to look good, right, Christy? You're going to feel good, and you're going to want to live because you're going to have purpose. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox.
What's going on? I love it. So, yeah, absolutely amazing. Thank you, Dr. Debbie. So, immune system, if you got an immune system that is out of whack, and would you even suggest glutathione for somebody? And if they're dealing with an overactive, underactive, or just an imbalanced immune system, or maybe a parasitic infection, would you?
Well, I personally, yes, absolutely, because I use all of the patches except for the LifeWave because I have zero zilch, not a pain. Don't even have to wear a back brace. I never get a headache. I never even get sore muscles from your tough, challenging workouts that last more than 24 hours.
Well, that's just all the proof people need to know that they work, right? So, okay, moving down. You guys got that. So let's move down to glucose because I know most Americans today are struggling with high fasting glucose and insulin imbalances, which is causing a lot of people to have to get on various peptides, medications, all those kinds of things to help maybe regulate it. And if not, still dealing with those things out of balance, right? How many people do you see that are on those medications and their numbers are still out of whack? They're still not feeling normal. They're still dealing with metabolic damage, insulin resistance, weight gain, all those things that come along with glucose issues and insulin issues, right? So let's talk about blood sugar. And I think that kind of trickles down into the bun and creatine, which is kidneys, right? So let's talk about that. What patches would you recommend for somebody dealing with blood sugar imbalances?
Well, I would start with, again, the X39, the Alavita. The Eon's going to take down the inflammation, period, dot, end of story. Nobody can be sick and diseased or on a ton of medication unless there's inflammation going on in the body. That is what the Eon is for. Plus, it's known as the happy patch. So when you get your blood labs in and you see these numbers, you see the difference between 85 to 95 on one chart, and then you see the other set range of 65 to 115. Any way you look at it, my theory is if it's 120 or over, you're not going to be burning the sugar. You're going to be storing the fat. The liver's already having a hard time. So a metabolic test will reveal even more information than this basic CBC, your standard American blood test. CBC with your thyroid and lipid profile give you a whole lot more information, but I always have people to add the A1C and the vitamin D. I'm going to say that again, because y'all don't have to have a medical doctor's order in order to get your blood test, especially through Quest. You can call them or you can go online and ask them to send you their specials, and you can go in and get everything and anything that they test for done there. And they even now run specials because that's all the rage now. You've got all these different holistic doctors coming out, including Tony Robbins, which is not a doctor, but he has a panel of medical doctors that have a group called Life Force where they will run all these different blood tests, not just this CBC. Okay, you get a page after page after page of information, which could be information overload. Therefore, you can get a virtual appointment with a medical doctor to go over your results with you, but there is so much more information to be gathered because the life is in the blood. Jesus talks about it all through the Bible. The blood is so important. And so speaking of blood, going back into the blood sugar, that's probably one of the most important numbers, that and the A1C, that I'm always looking at, always checking blood sugar. John will tell you, and he's like, I don't even know why you do that so much. You're not a diabetic. You're not pre-diabetic. It's like, because you don't want to ever let it get so far out of range that then you have drastic changes to make. But SP6 will help with that issue, as will carnosine. Write those two patches down, because in conjunction with the X39, you got blood sugar issues going on. Get with me. I'll tell you what foods to eat, which ones to stay away from. It's really very simple. I was just telling John earlier. It's basically meats, dairy, or you can say proteins, dairy, fruits and vegetables in season, and not the toxic superfood. So basically with fruits, it's the berries. And that's about it. Sorry, y'all. And those are in season maybe 2 weeks out of the year. Just saying. Because those two can make your blood sugar levels go soaring. But you need to write down the A1C number, which is your average blood sugar over the 3-month period, because that will reveal a lot. If you get that stickiness and that buildup in the arteries and veins, that's going to create cardiovascular issues, which for that I go down to the potassium levels, triglycerides. The triglyceride level is a direct reflection of your fork, knife, and spoon. So if that number's high, I do lecture the clients, because that tells me right there, you're living on sugar, you got a high sugar number, a high A1C, and your triglycerides are through the roof, there's an issue. But y'all don't hear me talking about that cholesterol number a lot, because it's a hormone. The liver produces it. It's a type of fat that, left alone with high sugar levels, is going to harden, like cotton candy does when you're walking around the fair and you got it on that little stick. Y'all shouldn't be eating cotton candy anyway. But I'm just saying, if you remember as a child, it got really hard and it was no longer good to eat. That's how that sugar settles into the bloodstream. It crystallizes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So for somebody dealing with any kind of numbers out of whack within these ranges of cholesterol, triglycerides, potassium, anything cardiovascular difficulties going on. So you're saying the foundations, which I always hear you say foundations, is going to be that X39, which is that GHK2 copper peptide, which activates stem cell. That's going to take care of just about anything in the body, right? Everything. I don't think there's anything it's not going to take care of. The results are limitless. And then Alaveda, lengthen your life. And so somebody with cardiovascular issues, wouldn't you even recommend that X49 that's going to elevate AHK copper peptide, which is found in your heart, right?
Yes, because that also works blood pressure, helps with the pulse of the body, testosterone, hormones. Oh my gosh, that's like the pair is just amazing. That's why I have them all, y'all. I'm talking about all these patches. You might as well have a garage sale and just get the whole package so you have what you need. Because even with the Alaveda doing what you and I always talk about, lengthening the lifespan, adding 20 years to your life, et cetera, the other benefit of that is beautiful skin. It works on the skin. Then they've got the skin line, the Alaveda, and it's for people like myself and Christy. You are young, so I'm sure you're not slathering lotions and stuff on. That's not my thing, is it, John?
No.
I don't do that. But I get it for things like sunburn, rashes. The creams are just amazing. They're lightweight, they're not sticky, they don't coat the skin down, and the eye cream even has the peptides and stuff in there. So that takes down that swelling, that inflammation. So you get, that's a side perk to getting your lifespan extended. What? Who wouldn't want that? So like I said, all the other ones are the support patches that come in and help, because now you've got your stem cells working again, because you stopped making them in your 30s. I'm going to repeat this every time till Jesus comes home, so you all get it, that you're either going to be rejuvenating or you can degenerate. And after the age of 30, that is what happens. And these blood tests, by getting them done like every 3 to 6 months, you can keep track of everything, even without coming in to have an appointment with me. Of course, y'all won't have me explaining what all your numbers mean, but anybody that's had the blood test, I tell them to bring it in because there's so much information on here, from the kidney function to triglycerides, cholesterol, the WBC and the RBC. That's white blood cells and red blood cells. So that all tells a story just right away to a blood chemist who can look at that and then know what steps to go into later. So Christy, your question mattered a while ago when you said, well, what would you do with anything? That is where I would start, especially for somebody on a budget. But if they've been diagnosed with something and they're dealing with dis-ease, which the definition of that is a lack of ease in the body, then I'm adding Eon to it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, because as you guys know, we preach till the cows come home to you guys. Inflammation is the root cause to all sickness, disease, illness in the body. It starts with inflammation, whether that is parasites coming in and infesting the body, creating inflammation, or whether that's toxic overload or a deficiency and whatnot of any kind of sort, right? That's inflammation in the body. And so I love that dynamic duo X39 Eon. X49, if you got cardiovascular health issues going on there, that's gonna, for every 8 months you wear that patch, you reverse your cardiovascular health by 6 months. So you get younger. It's just absolutely incredible. And so we talk about it so much, you guys. And so if you got parasitic infection, if your eosinophils are off, or if you've got red blood cell count off, you guys, we covered a little bit of that in we covered a good chunk of that in the parasite show that we did. So if you didn't watch that one, go watch it. We do talk a little bit about how parasites can eat up your iron levels. So if you're somebody who's severely anemic, you might want to consider taking some notes from that show. I know anemia is something that's not talked about enough, but a lot of people do struggle with it. And so parasitic infections could be causing you a lack of iron in your blood too, right? Sodium, potassium, something that I was taught in my functional nutrition counseling school was if these two numbers are off, you're probably dealing with a little bit of adrenal stress, right? A lot of Americans have adrenal fatigue or just burnout, feeling burnt out, feeling tired but wired, right? Anybody on here feeling that? Tired but wired, chronically tired all the time, just fatigued, sluggish, no energy. Something that we were taught is that if these ratios are off, right, they tell a story together. If your potassium's higher than your sodium, you've got some adrenal issues going on there. And with that, put that X39 on, put that Elevate on, which is going to help with that endocrine system. You're golden. Add the others as well if you want to go fast and you want to use all the cheat codes, right? And that's going to help to restore the function of the adrenals. We talked about the blood sugar, the glucose, if your glucose is off, or if you've got blood sugar imbalances going on, or maybe you're even taking medications for it as well, and you want to consider a natural option. Well, there's natural options for that. And the SP6 patch specifically has been known to help support and restore function of the pancreas, which is going to help restore function of your insulin. And so a lot of people actually end up losing weight on the patches. They end up building lean muscle. They end up feeling more energy. They sleep better. They just feel better, happier. Why? Because it's restoring the function of those hormones, which control those things, right? So that's metabolic hormones. So a lot of people, maybe you're on here too, and you want to drop 5, 10, 15 pounds or so. Well, the question shouldn't be, let's lose this weight, right? It should be, what can we do to support your hormones and support that weight loss? Because weight loss really shouldn't be hard, right? I think, Dr. W, I feel like that's something I get asked every single day. You probably do too. Especially with women and men too. That's something that everybody struggles with at some point, time or another. So working on balancing your hormones, and how can you do that? Well, if you're not using the patches, you absolutely should. That's one cheat code. Make sure you're eating right? Make sure you're moving your body, getting some kind of movement in your day. And even if you need to fill in your nutritional gaps with some supplementation, that's going to be wonderful as well. Dr. Debbie, anything else you want to kind of leave them with? We'll do last 5 minutes
Yes.
and we'll do the last 5 minutes
Oh, man.
question.
We're gonna have to do part two
We
because I'm
gotta
not
do a
even
part two. We
halfway
didn't even get to
through.
thyroid or hormones.
Yes, well, you were talking about being anemic, so I wanted to let everybody know the liver is your iron organ. So if some of you are on prescription iron, it's no different than going down to the railroad tracks and scraping the iron off the tracks and eating it and expecting your iron levels to go up. The body doesn't know what to do with it. You have to have a form of chelated iron or liquid chlorophyll, and that will get your iron levels up. Somebody asked about hemoglobin. That's what it's telling you, basically, what your iron levels are going to be at. And the liver is your iron organ. The heart is a potassium pump, and the kidneys are the sodium pump. Y'all need to write that down. That was so important. It was on state board exam. When you know those organs, then you take classes on blood chemistry. You learn what to look for. And these are just basic numbers. But I brought up these basic numbers and put this chart in here so that if all of you took a picture, you've got the normal range according to medical profession and the normal healthy range according to alternative, so that you can see you're not that far off. And then you pull out the patches, you take a food enzyme, a probiotic, and then you change your eating habits. It's not that hard, is it, John?
No,
But tell them how good you eat.
we eat very well around here.
I'm just saying, it's steaks on the grill, right, Trisha? Steaks on the grill, chicken on the grill, meats, protein, dairy, fruits, and vegetables and seasoning. I did not say goopy, yucky, chemical-laden seasonings and toxins and all the other things. And we do, we have a fix for that too. But that's all I'm going to say on the blood test. If y'all want more information, get with either Chrissy or I. Let us know, because we've told you the two main patches. And in order to get your nutrition down, go ahead, Mr. Vanna. Show this one too.
Oh, I love that you're holding that up. I was just about to mention that because you mentioned potassium, sodium, chloride,
Yes.
which are electrolytes, right?
There's your electrolytes, your minerals, your vitamins, and it gives you energy in a natural form with X39 and the Alavita at night. Show it up here.
Oh my gosh.
Get
Yep.
fired on your first day, Mr. Vanna.
Dr. Debbie's stack of choice. Screenshot that.
Yes, it's good. And it works. If it didn't work, we wouldn't be here doing this, y'all.
I love that. You guys, I love that you mentioned, Dr. Debbie, how sodium, potassium, all that is related to the kidneys and the heart. If you've ever been a client of mine or with Dr. Debbie, you hear us tell you that you need to be taking electrolytes every single day. You've heard us preach for the past 10 plus years. And we hear about electrolytes all the time, right? We hear athletes taking them and just, oh, if you go out and sweat a lot, make sure you take electrolytes. You guys, electrolytes are like spark plug to a vehicle, okay? Did you hear that? They're like a spark plug to your vehicle. So if you are not getting those electrolytes, you're gonna be much more tired. Okay, there's research saying that if you're dehydrated, even by 10% dehydrated, you're gonna have like a 50% reduction in your energy, and then it goes down from there. And so that is something that's so important. Electrolytes are not just a luxury just to sip on, but they are essential for your body, for your vehicle, for things like your heart and your kidneys, your liver, your organ function, right? They're the spark plugs. So keep that in mind. And if you don't have a good electrolyte supplement, Dr. W just held that up. That's the Cellulargize AM. If you follow me on social medias, you see me taking that thing every single morning. First thing in the morning, I do my one serving of it with my lemon water. And I am on for the day. And a lot of people on here have had great testimonials, great results with that stuff as well. It is used to enhance the patches. So it is like the raw material for your patches to accelerate your results. And so it is absolutely incredible stuff. If you don't have that, you should absolutely get that stuff. Get back with a person that invited you to Zoom and get that stuff ordered to your door because you're gonna want it.
I can't see the questions. So does anybody have a question?
Right. Yes. Q&A.
I had a quick question.
More questions.
Who has? Somebody else.
Hey, it's Alyssa, Vanessa's daughter.
Hi.
Hey, I can turn my camera on, but I'm just outside. Or sorry.
Go
Uh,
for it.
no, I just wanted to know about when you were talking about like the lab standards, for like the hospital being based on the ranges for sick people versus the standards where you've got them in the first column. Is there somewhere to get like more information about how they're different or like the evolution of that, how they came to be, or why they're different, I guess. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make
Okay.
sense. That's a great question. And it's because, kind of like what I said earlier, the majority of people going in for blood work starting way back when, healthy people, they just didn't go to the doctors because they weren't sick. You only went if you were sick, and then that's what the doctors ordered. That was their first line of defense, was to send them out for the blood test. So
Right.
that's how they based normal numbers on, was the average of the sick people coming in.
Got it.
And
So you're
then,
talking, oh, sorry. You're just talking about the evolution from like the beginning of when we started
yes,
doing blood
yes,
tests and medicine. Got it. Okay.
yes, yes. And not much of that has changed, other
No.
than when you get into the studies with alternative medicine, you find out the standard number for cholesterol used to be, if you were
Yeah.
over 400, then it was high, and then they pulled you off of fat.
Yeah, that's crazy. I just, yeah, I'm super like that's super interesting to me just because I am in that field. So when you were saying that, I'm like, where can I read more about this? Because I want to know like how, those differences. I would like to know more about that. And so I'm sure everybody else is interested too, but I just have a specific
Yes.
interest in that.
Well, there's a book by Hulda Clark, who's no longer here with us, but it's called The Cure for All Disease. And she has a second one out called The Cure for All Cancers. And she goes into more depth and detail of the history behind that. I think you would enjoy that.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
All
and I
right.
was even taught that the ranges were based off the demographic location of where you're at. So that can vary from state to country, different places like that as well. And so that's something I've brought to my awareness too. Yeah. Questions?
I was just going to agree with you with what you said about the demographics. I've read into a lot of stuff about different clinical studies as well, and they have a huge problem getting like a good population diversity to be able to base that information on, and that's what they're using to approve new medications and stuff. So, I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me when you're saying that they have a real problem, even really knowing if that's the range for you and your, who you are as a person.
Exactly.
So,
So bottom line, I told her, don't worry about it. X39, wipe an Alavita on at night, probiotic, food enzyme, and live life. Live at large, because I'm going to make sure you're here to, right, Christy? 150.
Absolutely, she will. And guys, I think that because Dr. Debbie and I, we talk about this all the time, and just in our field, it's not always about numbers and getting a lot of people I know, they're like, oh, I gotta figure out my diagnosis, gotta figure out my diagnosis. Okay, well, do what makes you feel good, but something you'll hear us tell you and preach to you, and just because we care so much, is it's not always about the numbers or about the diagnosis, but how are you feeling? What are your symptoms, right? Based off your symptoms, we can kind of, assess what might be going on, and there's always a solution for that. And so don't feel like you always need to, go get that lab work. Just focus on optimizing your health. Do the things that you know you should be doing. Do the groundwork, the foundations. Make sure you're eating your foods right. Make sure you're moving your body. Make sure you're on a good sleep routine. Make sure you're also, and you have community. You're laughing. You're in community. That's also super important for your health. Make sure you're hydrating, right? And so if you make sure you're doing all those things, then everything else is a cheat code. It's a tool in your toolbox, right? Which we love the patches. We've gotten some great results with those. If you're doing those stem cell patches, the X39s, Aeons for inflammation, my gosh, you're taking care of just about everything in the body. And so, absolute cheat code for your body. So don't stress so much about getting what's going on. Just focus on improving your health. And when you go get those labs done, they're going to be a perfect 10. Right, Dr. Debbie? Anybody else have any questions before we close this out? Last question. Valerie, what does hemoglobin level tell you? Dr. Debbie, you want to cover that real
Went
quick?
into that with the iron and the
Yep.
liver. health earlier. Yeah.
Focus on the liver, focus on your iron levels and whatnot. Vanessa, you raised your hand real quick.
Okay, so with the bun level, that's the kidneys you were saying?
Yes.
Okay. So is that like the kidneys are not functioning properly or just
The kidneys filter the waste from the blood, which is going to be your
okay.
creatinine level.
Okay.
Not
Okay.
creatine, but it's two
Creatinine.
totally different things. But you can see if the kidneys are struggling to filter the blood.
Okay.
And so you've got 2 or 3 different numbers,
Okay.
including the blood glucose, because the kidneys, again, are filtering the blood. And
Right.
so you can figure out if they've got kidney disease disorders and or if they just need to fix the amount of sugar going into the body and help the kidneys out more. Because
Okay.
there are tons of people that are on lots of medication, 3 and
Right.
4 blood sugar meds, and they're
Yeah.
still having high blood sugar. So
Yeah, because my bun was elevated not recently, but before that, and my general physician, she's like, "Well, you're just dehydrated." And I'm thinking, I drink a ton of water. Like you and I had that conversation
well,
separately, but yeah, so it's
and
just
keep
like
drinking it, add the Celergize to it. I know you're
I
already doing
do.
the patches.
Yeah,
Just keep doing what you're doing, and
yeah,
eventually the body will
it'll
heal.
come.
Like we
Yeah,
talked about earlier, every 8 weeks you're on it, body, or every 6 weeks your body reverses by 8. So, and that's an
amazing.
ongoing compounding effect.
Yes,
Oh my
perfect.
gosh, can you even go there for a minute? Like I said, for every 6 weeks you're on it, reversing the health
Yeah,
issues, age, everything, and then you slap an aloe vera patch on at night and you're
right
adding,
here.
yes, the sexy spot right there.
Exactly.
I would like to see all of y'all on next week's meeting show
With the
up.
Alvita.
Yes, with the aloe vera. I dare y'all. I will give y'all
I'll do it.
something free if you do that, because I want to take a picture
Look
with
at Ken.
We got it.
Ken's our
Yay,
first
Uncle
winner.
Ken. Yay.
Good job. I love it. So next week, you guys show up with your aloe vera patch.
It's a
Anyway,
challenge.
it's a challenge. So with that being said, you guys, I think we're going to do a part 2 to this because I do want to cover a little bit on the thyroid hormones and also the men and women,
Yes.
female sex hormones, testosterone,
Yes.
progesterone, estrogen. So let's do that part 2 next week for fun. If you have labs, print it out, bring them with you to next week's Zoom call, and we will kind of go step by step more into the hormone side of it and what you can do to help balance your hormones out, whether that's testosterone, progesterone, estrogen, or whatever hormones we got, thyroid. We can talk about that as well. So be prepared. That's going to be great. We hope you all enjoyed tonight's call. Thank you so much, Dr. Debbie, for your expert advice. I know so many people this is going to help. And as always, we're both here to help you guys with your labs and interpret them and help you guys get the best results. So we love you all, and we hope you'll have a wonderful night.
Yes, thank you.
Bye, everybody.